What's up, everyone? It's Greg with Delta, and this is the Be the Difference podcast. This podcast is all about making you a better person in your life and in your business with coaching on sales, leadership, mindset, marketing, everything under the sun when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And we bring on guest speakers. Today, I got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Edward Carrion. Edward, how you doing? All right, sorry, Edwin Carrion.
Edwin. I'm doing amazing. How you doing? Thank you for having me here today. I appreciate it. And to everyone listening, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever part of the world you're in. Get ready for some amazing knowledge.
Awesome. So for those of you that don't know who Edwin is, let me tell you a little bit about him. Edwin is a God-made millionaire, family-oriented investor, and mentor. Throughout his run, he has founded several multi-million-dollar companies that specialize in real estate development, precious metals, transportation, and logistics, investments, and business education and consulting. Backed by over 20 years of extensive experience in various industries, Edwin now shares his passion for entrepreneurship by training and mentoring others, since he realized most people don't live a fulfilled life. Simply because people believe success comes at the cost of poor family life, unbalanced life, or compromising their values to achieve success. Edwin guides people to the path of living life to the fullest by having balance in all areas. And where did that go? Hold on.
I'm right here.
No, my computer just glitched on me. Okay. I'm sitting there reading your bio. I was on a roll too. Edwin is a highly sought after renowned speaker whose energy, passion, charisma, and personality have captivated audiences around the world. Edwin's love and passion for living life to the fullest is fueled by three core values that he gained while serving the United States Marines, which are honor, courage, and commitment, and also helping professionals and entrepreneurs achieve the success that they deserve in life and business. He's the author of 9 Secrets for a Successful Life and Business. He's been featured in New York Weekly, CEO Weekly, Entrepreneur Magazine, Asia, Inc. 5000, Veteran Top 100, and many other leading publications. And what he likes to say is he's here to share his knowledge and God-given talent with aspiring entrepreneurs to address their problems by sharing what he knows and has learned from his experiences. Edwin, thanks for coming on the show, brother. This is going to be good. I'm excited.
Greg, thank you. Thank you for reading the whole bio right there. Wow, every time I do a podcast and every time I hear the bio, I'm like, wow, man, you have done a lot. So I like to be on podcasts, but I also like to hear the bio because the bio is a reminder of how far we have come, right? A lot of times we really don't give credit to ourselves for all the amazing things that we're accomplishing in our lives, whether it's something small or something big. But when somebody else reads it to you and emphasizes certain points, you're like, wow, you have done a lot and you're doing great. So keep up with that. So for anybody out there that's not celebrating your wins, go ahead and celebrate your wins because it doesn't matter how small they seem. To somebody else, those are big wins and they want to follow your footsteps.
That's a great practice, especially for entrepreneurs. I think a lot of entrepreneurs forget to do that because we're so hard on ourselves on like, we have to do more. We have to accomplish more. We're not doing enough. We're not at the level we want to be yet. And even when you do hit a level, then it's like, okay, well, what's the next thing? It's always what's next. And so accomplishing or celebrating small wins, being grateful for where you're at is very important. That's something that I had to get used to doing within the past 12 months or so. Get really good at finding time to be grateful and to celebrate
Yes.
and just appreciative, really. And when I say celebrate wins, it's really like a pat on the back. It's not like I'm taking a whole day off. It's just not like, oh, I got a new client, I'm going to take the day off kind of thing. It's just kind of
Exactly.
patting yourself on the back and saying, I've gotten to here. Where else can I go?
Exactly. And when you say that celebrating the small wins, it's actually just instead of focusing on what didn't happen, focusing on what did happen, right? Whether it was a good outcome or a bad outcome, because at least you got to that point, right? And I'll share a personal experience from me. Like, to me, I always wanted to be a public speaker and speak on different stages. And now that I'm doing that, not only am I speaking like in stages in the US, but like pretty much all over the world. So I just recently, last month, I had a talk to over 300 entrepreneurs in the UK and Asia and India. And I think, that's a huge accomplishment for anybody just to be able to speak in front of 300 entrepreneurs, let alone worldwide, right? Um, and then earning that title of international speaker now. But to me, when I finished that talk, I wasn't really happy because even though within that talk, I was selling a product and I didn't get all the sales that I wanted to get, I was kind of I focused on that. So when I was talking to my mentor, the first thing he said is like, Edwin, You asked me that you wanted to speak in front of over 300 people. You're doing it right now. Like, you need to celebrate that versus what didn't happen. Like, we have to start looking at those things as we go in life. That there's going to be moments that we're going to get the things that we dreamed of and we always wanted to in our lives. But at the moment that we get those things, we want something else, and we don't focus into what we really wanted, which was to inspire that many people at that one time.
Yeah, it's almost releasing the expectations of what you want to get out of it and just do it in service. Like the expectations that things are going to get hit. So I was actually watching an interview with Gary V recently, Gary Vaynerchuk, and there he was talking specifically about this because he just had VCon, and which I attended, it was awesome. And he was asked like, hey, what were your expectations for the event? And he was like, I don't have expectations. I just want to provide as much value as possible. The people that get here, the people that take the value, I hope that they do great things. I'm not looking for anyone to buy any services or products from me. I really just want to provide value, right? And if they do, they do. But at the end of
Yes.
the day, I want to make sure that I'm just providing value to everyone that's in attendance.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And I think it boils down to that, right? How much value. And I really, my main focus was always to inspire and aspire more people to become successful, to live their life to the fullest, to live their life that they dreamed of. And that to me, that means living your life to the fullest, right?
mhm.
And for that one moment, I just kind of got sidetracked because now I wanted something more instead of really focusing to what my ultimate goal was all along, that I dreamed of for many, many years of doing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's so powerful, and I love that. 100%.
Thank you.
So you are a prior Marine that served. How many years did you serve for?
I love the way that you put it. Thank you. Because you were like methodical and exactly not to say the wrong thing, right? Like you didn't say you're an ex-Marine, you were a Marine. You're like, okay, so yeah, so let's put it out there. Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Always Marine.
Yes, yes. I served for 4.5 years active duty,
Okay.
like around 4 years inactive duty as a reserve. And yeah, I did a good time. It was an amazing experience to be a Marine.
That's awesome, man. I worked with Marines a lot, more so on my Iraq deployment than Afghanistan. But dude, they were the best to work with. They just fuck got shit done, bro. That was it. Like it was like, hey, we need this done. They were like, Roger. Like,
We got it.
yeah. So they were awesome to work with.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
so what do you feel that you took away from your service and what you picked up from being, your service time as a Marine that you were able to translate into being an entrepreneur?
Um, I would say the biggest thing that I took from that is that pride
Uh-huh.
of being a Marine, that nobody could ever take that away from you. I mean, you were in the military as well. So we get that pride, right? That nobody's ever going to take away from us. And just knowing that we were able to go through all of that, through that training, and just work in our mindset, especially the ones that really understand that it's all a mindset thing at the beginning once you're going through the boot camp
Mhm.
and you're capable to do anything that you said you mind to. I think that's like the biggest thing. But at the same time, it reinforced my values that I always had as growing up and the values that my mother put in me, instilled in me as a little kid, which was like the honor, the courage, the commitment. And then really when I started digging deep down into it, it's like, what is the other value, which is the faith, believing in myself and having that belief that, whatever I set my mind to, I could accomplish it.
Yeah. Faith is such a powerful topic that I love to talk about, that a lot of individuals don't realize how important it is because it boils down to spiritual alignment within
Yes.
within yourself, right? And here's the way that I see it, right? I found that when I was working very diligently in a disciplined fashion on my physical fitness, that my mindset became tougher. That my I was able to I learned basic skills, basic traits of delayed gratification, of the discipline, the grit, the perseverance. It gave me more confidence because of how I showed up in the world. It was the physical representation of my internal reputation, right? And
Right.
then what happened is that as those continue to rise, my spiritual strength increased as well, because now with that confidence that was building and growing and flourishing, I now had this newfound faith, because now I'm like, well, what else can I accomplish, right? And it starts with small things. It does.
Yes.
It starts like anyone anywhere can start with anything. And I love the concept of like what the military does in terms of like just making your bed, because there's a lot of people that are like live like slops, right? And it's like, just wake up and make your bed. If you just did that and you did it every day for a week, what happens is that now your brain see things differently. And it's like, well, you're no longer like, oh, I'm just a messy person. You're like, oh, I'm a person that makes my bed. What else can I do? Right. And then it kind of
Yes.
expands. And next thing you know, you're cleaning your room. The next thing you know, you clean your house. The next thing you know, you're just a clean person. And you've completely shattered the identity of what you saw yourself.
Exactly.
And so, and over time, these disciplined actions can affect your spiritual side. And I don't care what religion you are. I, like you, I'm a Christian. I believe in God, and in my religion, and as a Christian, I believe that I was made in God's image, and therefore, I don't think that God made me in His image to come here and be worthless and just waste my life away, right? So, as my
Yes.
faith in myself increased, what happened is faith in my Creator increased as well,
Yes.
and it's a spiritual alignment piece that all kind of weaves in together, and it's because our mind, our body, and spirit are all intricately connected, you know.
That is true.
And so I love how you're talking about that, because a lot of people they neglect that. They
They
think it's
do.
just like, oh, well, I can just go to this conference, I can learn this one thing and just do that and I'll be successful. And it's like, man, being an entrepreneur, you have to be well rounded. You have to work on your physical, your mental, your spiritual. It is all encompassing. And you talk about that in your bio. Talk about the balance piece of it. You can't
Yes.
ignore your relationships. You can't ignore your social side or your spiritual side. It's not just put your foot on the gas and go to work. I mean, you can do that. Don't get me wrong. Will you find success? Yes. It will not be long lasting success. You will get burnt out.
Yes.
So,
It is 100% true what you said. You will get burned out, and not only would you get burned out, but it's gonna come a point in your life that you're gonna realize that you just wasted all your time and your effort into this one thing that didn't bring you the satisfaction that you thought you were gonna get once you achieve all those things, and you look back and like, my God, I just wasted so many years of my life trying to achieve this one thing because I didn't have the balance in my life where I really needed to focus into maybe really living the life that I wanted to, having living within my beliefs, living within my desires, accomplishing my dreams because I was just focused into the material things, into something else, right?
mhm.
So when we talk about the faith, and every time I give a talk, every time I do a speech, I always teach everybody um, that everything starts with faith, and especially when it starts with faith, if we read the dictionary definition, faith, it says having um, faith is the and I'm pretty much, I know this by memory already, but I can't remember because I put on the spot right now, but it's the strong belief into something or someone. And I always tell people, like, when we talk about something or someone, something is our God and the someone is ourself. And that's what faith means. That, you mentioned that you were created in God's image. So if you're created in God's image and if you believe in Him, then you have to believe in yourself. And that's what happens to a lot of people, that because they say, yeah, I believe in God, but if you believe in God, why don't you believe in yourself?
Mhm.
Because the definition of faith is believing in something or someone, and that someone is you. And if you're created as God's image, then you have to believe in yourself that you're capable of doing anything that you set your mind to. But at the same time, one of the biggest lessons that I had in time, and again, when I was young, I was baptized Catholic, and my whole life kind of I lived like a good Catholic, just kind of like believing God and not going to church as much until I met my wife and we get married, and we always practice Christianity. And just recently this year in Father's Day, I got baptized Christian. But the one thing from there was that it's not only about having that belief, but it's having that relationship with your faith, having that relationship with God. Because the moment that you start having that relationship, things starts to change, and then you really understand that, hey, because I have faith, because I believe in myself, I need to have that relationship with me. And in order for you to become a whole, is like by you starting to have that relationship with you, with God, then you start really acting on the things that you really want for you, because you start kind of like becoming selfish in a way of what do I want so I could be whole in order for me to be able to deliver to everybody else, deliver to my wife, to my kids, to my employees, to everybody else in my life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's such an important and pivotal part of, I think, what a true success is. Because success is whatever you define it to be, really.
Yes,
You can have a lot of money and not have success. You can have a lot of toys and a lot of worldly possessions and not have success. And so I think for me, it is having the most amount of impact that I can have during my lifetime, and that's
exactly.
in every area. So it's within my business, that's with my relationships, that's with my kids, everything. And so, and everyone's different, obviously, but I believe that faith is a strong part of that. So,
It is. It is. It's like number one thing in life that you have to start with faith. And in my book, the one that I wrote, which is Nine Secrets for a Successful Life and Business, that's the first secret that you're gonna read. It's faith. It's having that faith.
yeah, I love that. So what are some of the other secrets that you're willing to share? Give us
Uh,
another
um,
secret.
uh, the other secret is again no plan B. You know, especially a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people in life, they always start with a plan B, right? And I think a plan B is you're setting up for failure since the beginning.
Yeah.
So if we talk about relationships, right? If we talk about marriage, a lot of people they start with a prenup. Why? Because now they're thinking that they're going to get divorced, especially if you have money or something like that. If you're starting out, then so it's kind of setting those boundaries since the beginning. So the first thing when we moved in together with my wife, and we talk about getting married, the first thing that I said is like in our household that the word divorce does not exist, and it was set that was like the ground rule since the beginning that that word doesn't exist. But nowadays it gets thrown around so much in relationships and marriages that they end up in divorce because that is their plan B. Hey, these things, yeah, let's just get divorced. Let's divorce. So it starts becoming ingrained in your head so much that it's like, okay, we need to do this. Let's go separate ways. Life, like business, is not easy. Life is tough. Business is hard. But if you work so much at it to become successful in business, if you apply the same techniques into your life, your marriage, your life can be successful that way as well, because it takes hard work. There's going to be moments that you're about to go bankrupt, meaning that the divorce route, right?
Mhm.
But what do you do at those moments? Do you seek help? Do you find a mentor? Do you find a therapist? Do you find somebody? And it's the same thing in business. There's moments in business that, we're at the brink of failure that we don't know where the next cash is going to come in to be able to pay our employees or anybody else. But what do? We continue with the faith. We continue pushing forward instead of just quitting and going to the next thing, the next shiny object. So I think that's the next one, is never having a plan B, always having milestones along the way. And when I talk about milestones along the way, I'll just give you a recent example of something that just happened this last weekend. We went out with, I'm living in Colombia in South America right now. That's one of the new transitions that we did for this couple of years. I'm excited about that. But
Love it.
we were climbing this rock, going to what is called Las Tres Cruces, the three crosses. And it's this huge mountain. First, you got to go up like 1,000 steps, and then you got to climb through those mountains all the way to the top. And it took us like about an hour. It's like 3 miles one way. So I'm with my younger daughter. My younger daughter is 9 years old, and we're like 75% of the way done. And at that moment, she stops. She's like, Papi, I can't go anymore. Like, I'm done. Like, I want to go back. Like, I want to quit. So I had to tell her, like, look at the top. Look how close we are. That's our big goal. That's our big goal right there. So what I want you to do right now, I need you to start focusing on the smaller milestones. Let's look at what is going to be our next goal. So we just picked a tree really close by. I'm like, okay, let's go to that tree. And we walked to that tree. I'm like, okay, what's going to be the next one? So I kind of made it that way, like into breaking down that big goal of ours, which was to get to the top, into small little milestones that we were able to tackle little by little until she was able to see those three courses really close. And then we just started sprinting for the end. So, that's how life and business works. Life and business works the same way, that in business, we need to make sure that we understand what is our big goal for the business, for that, and then just kind of start tackling smaller milestones. And that doesn't mean that it's going to be a plan B, because once you try to get to this milestone, maybe you have to go this way instead of going the straight path. And if you know that that's a milestone and not a plan B, then you are going to get to success. You are going to become successful.
You know, I think there's a few things that I want to highlight here. First off, is that you taught your daughter the best possible lesson that she could learn at that point. That's probably going to impact her, and that's going to leave a lasting impression, right? I know so many parents out there that if their kid was like, I'm done, I don't want to do anymore, they'd be like, they would fight for a little bit, like, no, 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 it's right up there, we're going, and they wouldn't have a strategy to like sidetrack their mind in order to get them to have those small goalposts until they just kept crying. The kid would obviously keep crying, and then they'd be like, okay, fine. And then they'd go back down. And then they'd be
Right.
like, yeah, we had a good hike, but like, it was just too tiring on them and they just got exhausted. And, the kid this, that, the other, and they gave in to them. And that teaches them that whenever things get hard, you can whine, you can be a victim, and you can quit, and it's okay because then you're going to get babied later on.
Yes.
And I know too many families, too many people that do that, and it's just frustrating. And I just applaud you as a father, one father to another, that you
Thank
did
you.
that. So the other thing is I love how these are building off each other. So having faith in yourself is is obviously, as it being the first rule, is a necessary first rule, because not having other options, burning the ships, if you were, that means you have to have faith in yourself. That starts with faith in yourself and faith in your capabilities that you're going to make it happen no matter what.
Yes.
Right. And having, and literally committing to whatever game plan or action plan that you're going to go with. Or it is, it's weird saying game plan or action plan, because your plan may change, but the end result of what you're trying to do still remains. So let's say
Exactly.
that you're like, I'm going to work for myself, and I'm passionate about underwater basket weaving. Like, that is my jam. And so you may make an initial business plan for that, but as you go along and as you execute it, it gets difficult, challenging. You learn some new things through, you fail a lot, you learn some new things, you change the business plan, you still end up doing underwater basket weaving, but the route that you're going is not the same route to get there as when you started. And that's normal, because there's always going to be challenges, obstacles, and temporary setbacks along the path. Right. And you're going to learn, those are designed to teach you what you need to learn to get where you want to go. All those failures are there for a reason, to prepare you for what it's going to be like when you make it as that successful, underwater basket weaver. So,
Exactly.
but it's all based in faith, being like,
Mm.
I have something within me that I know that I'm passionate about this and I want to do it. And I believe in myself that I can actually make this profitable for me. Right.
Right, right. And when times get tough, one of the things that I always remind myself and I tell myself is like, God doesn't give you anything that you can't handle. Whatever He throws your way is because He has to prepare you mentally, physically, emotionally for the next step of what's to come next.
Yeah. That's so true too. I've realized that in my business and in my life, in that everything that I've gone through, even especially the most challenging difficulties and obstacles that I've overcome, usually internally, usually almost always internally, um, they have prepared me to be the person I am today, to be
Yes.
able to do the things that I do today, because I had to go through those things, as difficult as they were. And it has helped my business along in some way, shape, or form, and helped my life along. So I agree with that 100%. So, all right. So you got into the Marines. You did your service, and you got out. And you said, "I'm going to be an entrepreneur." What happened? What happened when you left the service?
I became an entrepreneur, just like you said it,
Did that
and
just like that? Just
uh,
blew?
boom, just like that, without any knowledge, without any inventor, without any experience. Let's go full on entrepreneurship, right? And nowadays, it's so much easier to become an entrepreneur because there's so much access to anything. All you got to do is just type Google, right? And Google and go on social media, follow like an influencer, follow anybody that you could think of, and you're going to get pretty much a lot of the answers. Um, I didn't have that back then, and I became a real estate developer. Just coming out of the Marine Corps, becoming a real estate developer, and sure enough, like that pride, that belief, that commitment to do anything that I want to, like those values that were instilled in me, the honor, the courage, the commitment, that faith, was that drove me to become very successful at a very young age. And in just about 2 to 3 years, I had over $20 million in revenues in my business, and I had over $20 million in assets in my real estate development company. But then it goes back to what we are talking about a minute ago: is I was following the wrong thing. I was focused on the money. I was focused into something that wasn't going to give me fulfillment in the long run, right? Because I was so consumed and so focused into doing that, that I wasn't paying attention to my health. I wasn't paying attention to my family, to my friends, um, to myself. I walked away from my relationship with God because I was so focused into becoming successful, because I grew up without money. I grew up, um, on a humble home without having a lot of money. So I'm like, I wanted to be rich. I wanted to have millions. And that was like my goal. Like I was like a horse on a racetrack, like this, until I went bankrupt and I lost everything. And then at the moment I realized, and I think one of the biggest realizations from that is that I used to call myself a self-made millionaire back then. And I realized that the moment that I went bankrupt, I'm like, wow, you know what? I lost everything because I'm not a self-made millionaire. I didn't get to the top or I didn't have all the things that I had because I did it on my own. There was a lot of people along the way that helped me out, and I didn't really acknowledge that, and I didn't acknowledge them, and I didn't take care of them the way that I should have taken care of them, and I didn't give praise to God. And that's why nowadays, the moment that I realized that, and the moment I said, God, you know what, I'm ready, I changed, I'm back to being humble, I'm back to being the person that you raised me to be, I'm ready. And within 2 years, he brought another business opportunity to me, had millions in the bank, was making a lot of money, was working 5 hours per week in the gold buying business. And that's the moment that I decided, instead of calling myself a self made, I started using the title of God made millionaire, because I want to give grace to God, and I want to give grace to everybody else in my team that helps me to have the life that I have right now.
Yeah. I love that. I love that the failure and the fall and the climb back, the realization that you had and the climb back. There's so many people that have that failure, and they're like, so for instance, in the housing crash in 2007, 2008, that a lot of people that were in real estate that
Yes,
lost a lot of money, right?
that was me. That was me. I was there.
And they're still talking about it till today. And it's like, bro, it's 2023, man. What
Yeah,
have you done since then?
and that's the thing. I was about to say that. So, what have you done since then, right? Is it okay to talk about it, because now it's a lesson that you're able to bring to other people? Did you learn anything about it, and what did you do about that? And that's, to
Exactly.
me, that's the thing. Is like, I took that as my biggest lesson in life. I took that as my biggest blessing in life, to really understand what are the things that I did wrong and what are the things that I wasn't going to do again. And the first thing that I could tell you from that blessing was that I learned that I don't like to work and I don't want to work, but I want to make money.
So how did you implement that strategy once you learned that lesson and you had that failure? How did you implement that to come back on the rise?
And the first thing that I did is, the moment that I got the business opportunity to get into the gold buying business, it's like, okay, how do I figure out a system and a process that I could teach somebody to do the job for me, so I don't have to work? How can I replace myself? And I
Yeah.
think it goes into that, right? How can you replace yourself? And right away, I created a system, created a process. I was able to duplicate my business. I went from one store to 14 stores throughout the United States, hire managers all over the place, and I was only working 5 hours per week. I figured out a way where I could let people work, get paid good, have a good commission, good payments, and me kind of put myself out of business and just be there for like the important decisions.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I like that. And how quickly did you say it scaled from one store to 14 stores?
In 2 years,
2 years. Damn.
in two
That's a
years,
short time in the
yes,
big scheme of things.
we went from negative $300,000 worth of debt to over $50 million worth of revenues. Created a franchise model. We were selling franchises, We opened stores throughout the United States, and very fortunate, I was able to sell that company in 2017 and retire for the first time in my life at the age of 36 years old.
Wow. Dude, you're super young. So we retired. So we retired.
Yes.
We're about the same age. You're a little, couple years older than me. Um,
No, I'm sorry. Hold on. I mean, let's go back to this because now I think I was no. The first time I was 33. The first time I retired. The second time I retired was 36.
okay. Okay. And so now, are you just doing coaching and speaking? No.
No, no, no. Right now, I own multiple companies in different industries. I'm still in the real estate development space. I built high-end luxury homes and high-end single-family luxury homes. At the same time, I built low-income housing projects. I'm about to start an 11th house project right now. So that's my wealth creation vehicle. So each one of my businesses have different purposes, right? And that's one of the things that I learned with time is like, what is my business? What is the purpose of this business that I'm going to create?
Mhm.
My other business is I own a transportation company, and the transportation company is my cash flow vehicle. That's the one that brings in cash every single week. So I could pay for all my living expenses and all my things. And from that, I take money and invest into real estate development, into my real estate development company. And then also I have my technology company, which is my passive income company, which that one creates passive income. It doesn't create the returns that I normally get in my development, but it's passive income, meaning that all I have to do is kind of deposit that check, once a week, once a month, whenever I get that check.
Yeah.
That's that. But and then last year I really decided to start full on into my coaching business. Now that all my businesses run remotely, I'm able to work very little, maybe like 10 hours a week on them. I decided to really start the coaching business, the teaching people how to become successful. That's always been a passion of mine. That's always been something. Actually, going back, the quick story on that was that when I sold my company, my gold buying business, I told God, I was like, God, if you help me sell this, I'm gonna give my tithes the way I'm supposed to. And within 30 days, God made it happen, right? Within 30 days, I had like three offers. We're able to sell the company. I gave my tithes. It was a big check. But then at the moment, I wasn't like fulfilled. I'm like, why is it that I'm not fulfilled if I give my tithes, if I gave a big check? So while I was talking to him, he's like, because I didn't give you the gift of becoming successful and having all that knowledge for just to give money away. It's like what you need to do is you need to share that knowledge with people in order for people to become successful like you. Because the moment that you pass on that knowledge, that becomes a legacy. The moment that you teach somebody how to become successful, that person is going to teach somebody else, and that's going to teach somebody else. But if you just give money, they're going to spend that money, and then it's all gone. And then sure enough, I started into my pathway into mentoring, into teaching people how to become successful until I decided that I really was going to go full on into mentoring, into coaching, into investing into other businesses and other entrepreneurs when I had the time and the freedom to be able to travel the world, to be able for all my companies to run. And that happened last year. My kids do homeschool. So whenever I have a speaking engagement, I'm able to go with my whole family, travel anywhere that I want to with them. My businesses run by themselves. So at that moment, last year I started my mentoring business, and that's what I do now. I teach entrepreneurs how to become successful, how to start their company, take it to the millions, and then I do one thing that very, very, very few mentors do, which is invest my own capital with them in their businesses.
Wow. That is very unique. Yeah. Oh, I like that. I like that. Um, it, for most of the people that are listening, they're baby 1099 baby entrepreneurs, right? They're just starting on their journey to becoming like usually an insurance agent or a sales agent in some other industry in sales, or they've been in for a little bit and they're starting to get their feet wet and get their feet under them. What are some of the best strategies or tips that you would give them, knowing what you know now, based on because you've obviously come a long way. Like you came out of the Marines not knowing anything, and to now you have multiple companies that you're running in a very relatively short time frame. So what are some of the best tips that you would give them that would help them to get on the path?
I mean, the first tip that I can tell you right now is make sure that you get a copy of my book. Nine Secrets for a Successful Life in Business, and
Definitely.
that's pretty going to lay out the framework of how to become successful, right? Not only in business but in life. And but as we were talking about, one of the big things that I will say is know what you want. It's having that clarity into what is it that you really want in your life, in order for you to achieve that. Because a lot of people get into business to make money, and yes, the ultimate goal is making money, right? But why do you want to make money? What is it that you want to buy with that money? Knowing, like having that clarity of what is it that you want with the money, in order for you to know and figure out how much money you need. Because a lot of them say, "Oh, I just want to make money." I'm like, "For what?" Because I want to buy a car. What car? A Lamborghini. Okay, how much do you need for that car? Oh, I don't know. It's a lot of money. I'm like, no, you need to have that clarity. Like, you need to know that the Lamborghini that you want is probably going to be $240,000 or $320,000. So you could figure out what you need to do in order to get those $320,000. Or maybe you figure out that you don't need the 320, that you only need 60K and then $2,000 a month to pay for that car.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's why those dreams become unreachable, because they don't know exactly what the goal is, right? They don't understand. Okay, I want to buy a house. Yeah, I want to make money because I want to buy a house. What house? How much is the house worth? What's your dream house? Like, you have to have that clarity of knowing exactly what is it that you want and why do you want it. And to me, for example, like all the material things that I have, like when I post the McLaren, the Lamborghini, when I post the yacht, the plane that I used to have, all those things, it it wasn't because to show up, it's to show that I was able to build amazing experiences with my family by having those. So yes, it's a dream that I had, but at the same time, it goes a step further. It's like, if I'm able to have the bigger yacht, I'm able to have more people there. Now I'm able to create more amazing experiences with my family.
Mhm.
And and those are the things that it goes from being a material thing into creating something that is going to be long lasting.
I love that. Where can they find your book? Where's the best place for them to buy it?
Actually, the book is free, so you could go to my website, edwincarrion.com, and at the bottom of the page, download your free copy of the book.
Dude, that's very generous. I love that. I love that. And then if they wanted to learn more about your coaching or someone wanted to reach out to you, what's the best place to follow you besides your website? Is it just your website?
The best place to follow me is social media. I'm on all the social media channels, and I guess today just Threads launched it, so I'm also on Threads already.
Oh yeah, me too. I just started. I
So,
love it.
yes, yes, I like it because let's not get into Twitter, but anyways, I like Threads so far. It seems pretty cool. So yes, you can find me in all the social media channels, Edwin Carrion 78. And if you can't remember that, just remember my name. Go to my website. It has the link to all my social media channels in there. And the one thing I tell everybody is like, if you have any questions, go ahead and reach out to me. I'm very humble. I love to help people out. I'm here to serve. So reach out
Yeah,
either to me, to you, to anybody that you want that you want to ask a question to. If you reach out, you'll be surprised that people will answer back to you.
yeah. I think it's important for when people reach out. I'm big about reaching back out to people when they do reach out to me, because I just always want to take the time to do so.
Yes.
Um, okay. Last question I have for all my guests, and this is if you had the opportunity to sit with, learn from, have a conversation with, break bread with three individuals, anyone in history, who would they be and why? They could be alive or deceased.
Okay. Well, God number one.
Okay.
That's it's. I mean, yeah. I don't think I have to say why or what. I think it's just God. It's just being with Him. I had an experience that I was close to Him many years ago, but I want to have like an experience where I'm able to sit down and talk to Him, right? So He could really give me that clarity in my life and things like that. The second person is Tony Robbins, somebody that I admire and I look up to a lot. I think Tony Robbins is great. He's amazing human being, a speaker. So I would definitely love to uh, sit with him, be on stage with him, speak with him in front of him, and that's my goal. And then the last person, I couldn't tell you a third person. I think those are the main ones. Those are the two main ones.
Those two big ones. Those are two great
Yes,
ones. I
two
like
big
Tony Robbins.
ones.
I'm actually going to the UPW event live in Dallas in November. My first UPW
Oh,
event.
oh, you're gonna love it. It's transformational. They're having one in August in the UK. If you could go to that one, I think it's gonna be a lot nicer.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to
Yeah.
it. My July is filled because I'm going to do a cruise with my kids. I've never been on a cruise before, but
Oh, nice.
I'm going on my first cruise with my kids.
Which one are you doing? Disney?
No, we're just doing a carnival out of a 5-day Bahamas cruise.
Oh, nice. Okay, you're gonna enjoy that. You're gonna like it. Very
So
nice.
yeah,
I'm not too big into cruises, but we just did one last year for my daughter's birthday, and we did a Disney cruise, and they had a blast.
yeah, I'm excited. I think it's gonna be good.
Good.
It's gonna be good.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
So, all right. Well, Edwin, it was such a pleasure having you on, sir. I appreciate you taking the time and sharing a lot of your experiences and just the wisdom and knowledge that you have and that you've gained over your lifetime as an entrepreneur. For everyone watching, if you got any value out of this, which I know you did if you're watching until now, then do me a favor, share this content. Share it with somebody else that can learn from it, that can grow from it, that can get value from it, that can change their perspective. Okay. Because you might be a catalyst in helping them to change their perspective. And it means the world to both Edwin and I that other people are impacted by this message. It takes you 30 to 60 seconds to rate, review, subscribe, or share. But like I said, it means the world to us. This has been the Be the Difference podcast. I'm your host, Greg Birch. Until next time, we'll see you.